Welcome to the I-80 Boys podcast. I am your co-host, Chris fucking Vacha. This douchebag, wherever the hell he's at, probably behind me where he usually is. Christian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I like that, man. Listen, I always am trying to do. Oh, I got it right that time. I finally understand. Like I got to point that way.
I got to do this. That's weird.
Pointed right into my soul, man.
What do we got today, brother? What the hell are we doing? What's up, man? Feels like forever, bro.
It does. It feels like just feels like it's been too long. You know, too long between these shows. I think today what we're going to kind of look at getting into, Chris, is the top 5 running backs in college football.
Ooh.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
And this is, I might have a surprising guy in here at, leading off this list. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Dude, I'm grabbing my sack. I'm parked in my fucking chair here, bro. Let's fucking do this, dude. I'm sure you're coming up with some crazy shit like you did on your QB list last week. If you guys haven't seen that shit, go ahead and tune into last week's podcast and see what this asshat had to say about it. So come on, Christian, bring it to me real, man. I know you're going to come up with some crazy theories. You're a stat whore. Lay it out there, bro.
Listen, I do like my stats. I do appreciate a good stat petition here. Okay. At number 5 on the list, I've got Will Shipley of Clemson. I like Clemson. Now, he was a highly recruited kid, right, when he signed with Clemson. Last year, he had 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. Okay. I think what the kid's doing, they're kind of getting away from they're having a quarterback departure that's kind of going out of there. Old DJ's leaving. They're getting another guy that, hopefully they can spin the ball with. But I think they're going to really, really lean on this kid, Will Shipley, out there, right? Like I said, in his career, he's had 2,000 yards and 26 touchdowns, all right? The kid's kind of balled out, out there at Clemson. At number 4, okay, this is where we are going to get a lunch in here. Braylon Allen of Wisconsin. Okay, I'm kind of getting back to your conference here. Little Big Ten action, Chris. Last year, he put up 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he also had, over his career, he's had 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns. So, the last 2 years, you think about what this kid's done. He's actually had a pretty solid season back there. They're going to need him to kind of pick up the load a little bit more and kind of do some more stuff out there at Wisconsin. All right.
Let's go.
I know. We're getting right into the top 3 here. Look, I think, and I could be wrong here, Chris. You would be first, though, wouldn't it? Of course it would. You seem to think I have a lot of SEC bias. Is that right?
Oh, dude, you've been dick riding Georgia for a long time, and I've known you for a while now, and you are very, very biased towards the SEC. Let's just throw that out there. I get it. I respect it. I understand.
Well, in case you say that, let's get right into it here then. At number 3, I've got Raheem Sanders of Arkansas. My guy last year had 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns. Okay, and that was in the loaded SEC, as we like to say, right?
Right.
Listen, I got a feeling he's going to have a chance to have a huge year this year. Him and KJ Jefferson, the running quarterback there. I really like what this guy is going to do. You know who he kind of reminds me a little bit of?
Oh, let's see. What do you got? What do you got for me? Kid's fast as fuck. SEC, what, DeAndre Swift?
It'd be an easy comparison. It'd be an easy comparison there. Another former. No, it's another former Arkansas running back.
McFadden?
Oh, yeah.
Darren McFadden?
A little lighter, little faster McFadden.
God damn, I was surprised that your knowledge goes back that far. Darren McFadden's been out of the league for a while, but boy, that guy damn near won a Heisman, though. He was a fucking stud, man.
Imagine what you're going to do when you find out I know about Ryan Mallett over there with the Razorbacks. So you'll get.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about that clown. I remember that guy. Funny you bring him up.
Oh, well, good. Hey, we all like to party. Anyways, getting on with it. He's had 2,400 yards in his career and 26 touchdowns. Anytime you could do that in the SEC, that's pretty damn impressive. Yeah, number 2 on this list, again, for me, I'm going to keep it parked in the SEC here. I've got one Mr. Quinshon Judkins, right? And here's the reality of the situation. He was a true freshman last year. He had to, he was having to split some of the time with a very talented 5-star running back in Zach Evans, who originally committed to Georgia, ended up at TCU.
Right?
Found it. Yeah. He was originally committed to Georgia, signed with them. Somehow, like right after all that, he ended up getting released from it. I don't know exactly what happened. Ended up at TCU, I think after junior college.
Not to interject here, but wasn't he like super highly recruited at high school? Wasn't he like one of the top, or if not the top back?
I think he was like one of the top running backs. Yeah. He was a 5-star. I know that.
Right. Okay. No, go on. Sorry. I just that name, man. I think he declared for the draft this year, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, he definitely did. So, but let me tell you what this kid did last year at a Pike Road, Alabama. All he did as a true freshman in the SEC was go for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's
putting some work in for sure.
SEC,
I will give it to you.
He's going to be. I think he might be one of the best backs this year. Again, but I feel like it's always weird though, because as soon as you get like really hyped up on some of these guys, it always kind of.
Running back is that's a tough one. You can't get injured. You know what I mean? Like we saw that last year with Mo Abraham from Minnesota. He put up crazy stats, played on not such a good team. That's another thing too, to get hyped up there in the running back situation. Your team's got to be pretty successful. Otherwise nobody really cares, right? I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know what I mean? Like you always got to be like an upper echelon team to get your name out there. It seems like you see these guys put up just crazy numbers for schools that maybe or 500, a little bit above. You know what I mean? Like, I think, Mo Abraham is, declaring for the draft this year. I believe he's a senior anyway. So, like, he's a really good back, but the guy was a workworkhorse, right? But a lot of people really didn't hear about him so much because I guarantee the guy that he was compared to is the guy that you got sitting number 1 this year because he was supposed to go to the NFL. And I'm going to be surprised. What do you got, Christian, at number 1?
Well, I'll definitely say that, but real quick before I jump into that, I will say one last thing about Quinshon Judkins here, and that is, to me, let me just kind of park it here for just a second here. I want to ask you this. Is this not a little surprising for you, considering this is a Lane Kiffin offense? When I think of Lane Kiffin offenses, I think we're going to spread it out. We're going to throw the ball a quadrillion times a game. To me, it just seems weird as fuck that they have a running back that kind of, as a true freshman, put up those kind of numbers.
Any other day, Christian, I would love to disagree with you. But I have this guy on my list. So, answer your question. Yeah, does it surprise me with Lane Kiffin a little bit that he's in that offense and puts up those kind of numbers? But then, no, not really, because they throw the ball a ton. This is the SEC. You got to be able to run the ball down there. You have to at some point. And I think this kid's really, really fucking good. So, I think he puts up similar numbers this year. I really, truly do. I really do.
I like it. By the way, if everyone's looking and they're going to look at this, I also included the receiving yards as well as receiving touchdowns too. So there you go.
Absolutely.
If you're going to do stats, you got to do it all the way. Number 1, your favorite guy. You like to dick ride this guy so much that I'm going to have to name a bench in my house after you and him. Blake Corum over at Michigan. Like I said, man, he's been, I think, for a few years now, he's been one of the best running backs in college football. Last year, and he was hurt for a little bit of the season, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Fuck, the end of the season, boy. You forget who his backup is, who's probably a top 10 back in the country, honestly, too. He's pretty good, Mr. Donovan. I think it's Donovan Edwards. That's his name. He's a fucking stud, too. But no, I'll talk about him more on my side here. So
100%. I don't want to take anything away from you, but I do want to finish this up here. It's 1,500 yards last year, 19 touchdowns. Over his career, he's had 2,800 yards and 33 touchdowns. I mean, the guy's been a stud over at Michigan and continued to kind of help propel them to success. I mean, do I think that they're right now, I mean, arguably they're better than Georgia in the running back room. Not even a question in my mind about that. But you look at the run of running backs Georgia's had, Michigan might get on a little bit of a run here, I think. And that's going to be kind of worth noting. And that's hard for me to say, especially because our poll, we disagree on Michigan, Ohio State. And our community poll that we put up over on the channel right now, people are leaning with me, and they're saying Ohio State is going to win the Big Ten this year.
Well, I'm sure they are. And there's probably 3 times the freaking Ohio State fans out there than Michigan, but we'll see how that plays out in the field. That'll happen here, in a couple, shit, it's gonna be more in a couple months, but no, I agree, Christian. I will say, to wrap up your top 5, man, going into mine here right now, I got to give you some props, man. I thought I was going to get you with some of these guys today. I mean, you definitely don't know how to play running back. It's questionable whether or not you even played high school football, but here we are. So I'm going to jump into my top 5 here. My 5th guy, man, and I had to throw him in here just like I did with my quarterback top 10 list last week. I got to make it kind of crazy, right? I threw Casey Thompson in there as number 10 because I gotta make it interesting. But my number 5 back, and I don't have this pulled up here or anything going off the rip. Doing some studying and looking into this year, but the guy I have is Frank Gore Jr. And I bet you know who his dad is. Come on now.
Yeah, I do know who his dad is. Yeah.
Played a million years.
Frank Gore Sr. Yeah, he's the oldest man on the earth, right? Yeah. In the NFL terms. That's where I thought you. Go ahead.
Right. No, but I mean, and obviously, that is his dad. So we're talking about his son here, and I watched him play. It's kind of ironic. I thought of him last year, and I believe I don't know if he was a sophomore last year. I don't remember, but the bowl game against Rice, and I know it's Rice, and it was one of those early games, right? He rushed for 329 yards in that game, Christian. 15.4 yards per carry. That's fucking ridiculous. I'm putting him on here in my top 5. If he's anything like his dad, man, he's obviously a tough son of a bitch then. And I think we'll see him in the NFL. I truly do. He is a very good back, by the way. He got hot at the end of the season last year. I do know they don't play in the toughest of conferences. It's not a Power 5. I understand that. But we've seen a lot of guys be really, really, really successful outside the Power 5 in the NFL and even in college football. So that's my number 5 guy. You got anything to say about him? You probably a little shocked there. Probably didn't even know who the hell he was, right?
I actually did, and that's what really threw me off there. I was like, man, first of all, props on you, because I thought he's been around for a little bit. His dad's old as shit. And I know I remember hearing about him because I think he was drawing a little bit of praise from Miami when he was coming out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. But he ended up at Southern Miss, and yeah, I mean, to me, listen, I think he's a really good running back. I think he's going to have a great career, potentially in the NFL. But I think as far as a college running back, one of the things I want to see is can you compete against the best talent, right? I know he's a talented kid. I think obviously, like you said, he played against Rice, and you know what I mean? Hey, I'm not going to sit here and say I would have had 15 yards of carry against Rice. You know what I mean? It probably would have been closer to like 8 or 9, but still, I think, yeah, bro, listen, you keep sleeping on me and how quickly
8 or 9 maybe total in a game with about 23 carries, but yeah.
Hey, bro, that's still more than you had at that level. So
true. No, so we'll jump. Like I said, I will touch on him right here real quick again, but no, he is a sophomore, by the way. I just Googled that and got it up there. Young guy. So we'll see what he does. And I do agree with you. And that's why I had to throw him in there kind of just to change it up a little bit, though. Obviously we did not consult on our picks here before. But no, I think you're going to hear this kid a little bit this year. I truly do. Next, jumping to number 4. This is the one I really don't have anything else to say because you thoroughly went through him. Was Quinshon Judkins, dude. That guy, I don't really have to say much. You made a good point about being in the Ole Miss offense there. They like to fucking sling the ball all over the place. But again, you got to have a good running back. This kid is a fucking stud, though. I did watch him a couple times last year live, and man, he's everything that they brag about. I mean, he is a stud, and I think he'll have another big year. So I'm going to jump right into 3 since you touched on him pretty tough there. And there's another guy you have here. This is a guy that I had a tough time evaluating when I put my list together, Christian, was Braden Allen. Young dude, super hyped up out of high school, big son of a bitch. Wisconsin is known for pounding the fucking football. It will be interesting to see what Fickle does with him in this offense and how they run their offense this year. I believe Braden Allen's a junior this year. I believe, if I'm not mistaken here with my stat, and I know this might surprise you, I might know more than you do on this kid. I think he's led college football in rushing past 2 years with total yards. He has a boatload of them. I think he's up there with the total combined. He had a huge freshman year. But I like this kid a lot. Wisconsin's going to pound the football, behind that big old fucking offensive line that they always have every year. I don't see them really changing that up. Do you?
No, I don't see that either. I mean, yeah, I like I said, I think over at Wisconsin, I don't know. It's Luke Fickell, man. I mean, he might come out and surprise some people. All right. I mean, he really could come out and surprise people. I think they're going to try to lean on that ground game. Here's the reality of the situation. Wisconsin, I feel like they always lead the country in some weird ass stats that you don't even really realize.
Right.
They were one of the best. I mean, I knew they had a great defense. I didn't realize they were one of the best defenses though, like from a defensive statistical standpoint.
They almost had to be last year, even though their record didn't show it. They're fucking. What was his bucket at quarterback? The kid that was recruited by Bama.
Was it Mertz?
Yes.
Graham Mertz.
Jesus, man. They looked like shit last year on offense, and their defense kept them in. They played Nebraska. I mean, they were in that game because of the defense. So, I'm with you. What Fickell does here is going to be very interesting. It's going to have a lot to do with Braden Allen. I think Braden Allen is an NFL back. He kind of reminds me of Jonathan Taylor. I don't want to take him there yet because that's a huge leap, but this kid is really, really good, man. He is talented, but new coach, you know how it is. New coach, new system. God only knows really what happens here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it'll definitely be interesting. Who else you got for us there?
This is what pisses me off. I thought I was going to fucking have some off-topic picks for you. I got Raheem the Rocket Sanders, bro, at number 2. And yeah, I don't dick ride the SEC, but this kid's a fucking stud. I like this guy a lot. I actually think he may compete for the Doak Walker Award at the end of the year. I'm going to go right into my number 1, which is obviously, I think, everybody's number 1. How do you not put him there? He was supposed to go to the draft. He came back. Is Blake Corum. So I honestly think those two are almost 1A, 1B for me. Michigan is going to pound the shit out of the football. I mean, we all know that. That's Jim Harbaugh's style. That has always been Michigan's fucking game is big offensive lineman, kind of like Wisconsin, pound the fucking football at you. We talked about Donovan Edwards, the backup, man. That kid looked great last year when Corum couldn't play with the injury in the bowl game. But to touch on, Raheem here, man, this kid, I think he had 17 or 18 carries last year for more than 20 yards, led the country. I mean, this kid's a stud, dude. In the SEC, if you're doing it in the SEC, man, I will say that it's impressive. And I know you know that because you're going to give me a 5-minute, fucking story about how great the SEC is here.
No, I mean, listen, like I said, I mean, you look at the backdrop there of this, podcast that we've got, and that one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever walk the SEC in the face of the college football world, 2-time national champion, I should say, Stetson freaking Bennett. No, here's the reality of the situation. I don't need to throw out the SEC there. He's a great running back. I think he's going to have a good year this year. And yeah, like you said, I like Sam Pittman. You're talking about Sanders over at Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
I like Pittman as a coach. I mean, where did he come from?
Is he a Georgia guy?
He came from Georgia. He was a Georgia offensive line coach.
Okay.
He recruits him and he says, "Yes, sir."
Okay. No, I did not know that. I've heard the name. I figured since you had to bring that up the way you did, I figured he was a Georgia guy. But if you were anybody in the SEC right now, it's a question for you. Mm-hmm. Some of these teams that, want to be successful, why would you not be trying to get people out of Georgia? I mean, look at you guys especially last 2 years, 3 out of 4 years. You know what I mean? You guys have been hate to fucking say it, the new Alabama. I mean, you guys are that team right now. Truly are. You guys win one this year with that super soft fucking schedule. You might win 3 in a row, and then we have to call you a dynasty. How's that sound?
Well, I think 2 is because when's the last time Alabama won 3 in a row?
I don't believe they have. Did they?
Oh, okay. No, I don't think you did. We looked that up. Wasn't it like Yale and
Minnesota or some shit?
Yeah,
way back. Yeah, way back. Nobody's ever done it in Nebraska. I was hoping in '97 was going to do it, and they didn't do it. Or sorry, '96, but they didn't do it. So, yeah, that's you guys are in uncharted territory right now, like crazy.
Yeah, I like I said, I like it. I think this is it's going to be. Here's what I'm going to say, man. This is my bold prediction, if you will. It's going to be a weird ass year of college football. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be a fun, exciting year of college football.
I won't disagree with that. I think there's a lot of teams this year that are going to surprise some people. I think it's kind of up for grabs. I kind of wish this 12-team playoff was starting this year. I know we've talked about that in previous pods, but you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of teams that you could just – I think that's how it's going to go this year. I believe you had Georgia, losing a couple games, you think, this year, and I actually think that they got a chance to run the table up into the SEC title game. So, we're not experts by any means. We like to think we are, but, there's going to be a lot up for grabs this year. Big 12 – you might as well toss a fucking dart at a dartboard. Big 10 is probably going to come down to a couple teams there as well. ACC is up for grabs, is it not?
Yeah.
UNC, Clemson, fucking Florida State. And then the Pac-12 this year, there's really no definitive team over there. Washington's going to be good. Oregon, USC, man. I think this year is going to be crazy when it comes down to that. Who they take in the top 4, right? I think there's going to be a couple one-loss teams in there. Somebody's going to get left out. Somebody's going to be pissed. So, this year's going to be nuts, man. Yeah, I truly think it is. I agree with you.
So, and by the way, are you already divulged your number one guy there? Is that what you did?
Corum. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
I got you. Is there any more you want to add to it?
I don't. I just know Michigan's going to pound the fucking football, dude. And this kid, I actually thought he had a legitimate shot last year before he got hurt to win the Heisman. I know it sounds crazy. Very few running backs have ever done it, but he had an epic year last year. And I think they're going to feed the shit out of him. I'll be honest with you, Christian. I'm really big on JJ McCarthy taking that big step this year. This is why I'm so high on Michigan this year. Corum, him coming back. I think their offense is going to be pretty legit. It's going to come down to their fucking defense.
Yeah. And my thoughts on it again. And all I got to say is the community tab over there on this channel. But here's the reality. And I want to say something. You threw me off when you said Frank Gore, because I thought you were setting up to talk about one Anthony Grant is who I thought you were going to go.
Oh, you thought I was going with the Nebraska boy. Well, he just currently, if anybody wants to hear some cool news here, in Nebraska, he is currently suspended from the team. And
not for bad reasons.
What's that?
Not for bad reasons, according to Matt Rule.
Well, I heard through the program this morning, some sources I got over there said it has to do with his grades. And I love what Matt Rule is doing, is laying the law down, because grades obviously are important. These kids got to have just something other than fucking football to live off of. And we did suspend temporarily a couple other guys as well, but that's what I heard it was for. So it was nothing like crazy, but he needs to get his shit together. So I believe he was recruited by Florida State out of high school. I think he lasted a semester there, and I think he had some problems with grades there too, and that's why he ended up at JUCO. So I think this shit's been going on around Nebraska for a while about not having a strict coach back there. I could get into that topic any day. So I love what Rule's doing. So
I don't want to talk too much about that, but you bring it up, and I think this is a good point here. Do you think, before we get into the next topic, do you think that's going to hurt, the run game there, with Anthony Grant kind of being the spearhead of not having him in spring?
Well, I think he's going to bring him back sooner than later. I will say this though. There's a guy by the name of AJ Allen, was a freshman last year, got hurt in the Oklahoma game. This kid is a fucking stud. Remember that name, write that shit down. He was a freshman last year. And then we have Gabe Irvin. Big time. Has looked fucking amazing from what I'm hearing inside the program. Has looked awesome. We kind of got a three-headed monster here with Grant. I think Grant will start the season off as a starter if he gets his shit together here with grades and all that crap. If that rumor's true, which I'm pretty sure it is. Nebraska's always been known for really good running backs, so we've never had a problem getting top tier talent here. Seriously. So it's about the only thing we seem to get anymore. Get some offensive linemen in here. That'd be even better. But yeah, just to touch on that quickly, Christian, I think we'll be okay. I think Nebraska, I think Rule does want to run the ball, but that starts up front with the big guys. You know that because you're one of them.
Oh yeah. Hey bro, left tackle, aka Jared Lorenzen over here, coming at you live every week. No. Yeah, let's jump into our next segment here, Chris. There's something, you love it when we do this. I love it when we do this. I get all kinds of excited for the hot takes that we have around here.
Absolutely. Pissing people off. People think we're crazy. I love
it. Okay, are you ready for hot take? This could be Saban's last year at Bama. And I added a twist to it. Let me tell you about it. If they lose 3+ games, what are your thoughts?
Since it's a hot take, if they lose 3+ games, could it be his last year? No, I don't. I just don't. I'm gonna stand my ground on this. I know you're gonna pull up some crazy stats here. Look at all those 1-loss seasons. I don't see it happening, Christian. And the reason why is because I think Bama knows they have probably the greatest coach ever in college football. You can't be great forever, right? And I mean by great doesn't even explain what Bama's done. And by the way, I am not a dick writer for Alabama. I hate Nick Saban. I could get into that on another topic. I just think he's that good. His success, Christian pulls it up right here on the screen, is very, 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 very evident. I think any other program probably would die for seasons like that. And what's he got? 7 national titles. I think he got 1 with LSU and the other 6 with Bama or whatever the hell it is. Maybe he's got 7 with Bama. Is that right? He got 8 overall? Am I wrong on that?
Let me just count here real quick. He's got, all together, or do you want just with Bama?
No, Bama. I mean, I know he's got 1 at the LSU. I know that.
So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total, 7, including the 1.
Jesus. Okay. That's what I thought. So, I mean, anyway, no, I don't. The team that he has coming in this year, he's got a new quarterback. What the hell is his name? Black kid. The kid's like ripped.
Jalen Millwall.
Yes. Played a little bit last year. More of kind of a runner. I don't know how good a thrower he is of the ball. But I know they're going to reload there. I just truly have that feeling. I do. I think he was really pissed off, Saban was, because they didn't get into the playoffs. He made a bitched and moaned constantly after they didn't get in and why they should be in. And I get all that crap, but I just have a feeling this year with Bama that they're going to be tough this year. If they do lose 3+ games, I don't think they fire him. I'll leave it there and I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I think here's the reality of the situation there, Chris. I think, let me pull this back up here. Last time Nick Saban has lost more than 3 games in a season. You have to go all the way back to 2007, his first year at Alabama, when he was departing your Miami Dolphins.
Well, right. I hate to, since you can't read, I know you're from Georgia, but you did go 10-3 in 2010 there.
I said more than 3 games.
Oh, more than 3. Sorry, I am half slow, a little bit mentally handicapped. I agree. No, that was the season. Yes. So I mean, go on. Sorry. I guess I thought you said 3 losses. Sorry.
No, you're good. And I guess if you look at this, if they lose 4 games this year, to me, I mean, they've lost 3 games before the season. That's not cause for concern, really. If they have a 4-loss season this year, which, I mean, think about it. It could happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're gonna play Texas this year. That's a game I think they could lose. They're gonna play Tennessee. It's another game I think they could lose. Ole Miss. You know, there's so many games I feel like Alabama plays over there in the West that are just losable games if they're not careful. And they're a young team. They're going to be a very young team this year, and they could end up being a 4-loss team. I'm just saying, if that were to happen, you know, Saban feels like he's losing control. College football shifting in a way where it's becoming more like the NFL, and you get, you know, you're paying players to come in and play for your program. He's losing control or having to give that control back to the players. And that's something that you and I both know he does not like to do.
He is a control freak. That's why he didn't last in the NFL. And it's like you just said, just to interject, he's going to eventually retire here. Trust me. But you're right. Exactly. College football, we've said it several times, is becoming more like the NFL. And I know you hear him talk preseason all the time. He's always pissed off about the new things that the NCAA is, implementing, the NIL and all that. He is like the forefront spearheading that fucking thing. You know what I mean? And that's why you're exactly right. So go on, Christian, but you make a really good point there.
My point is this: historically speaking, Bama doesn't lose more than 3 games in a season. Not since Nick Saban's taken over. I mean, he's 07, his first year, outlier, not really his guys. It was the John Parker Wilson years there. Yep. Trying to figure all that stuff out. I will make the argument that, but this year, enough stuff is kind of those splash of coordinators that you have, right? That splash of coordinators, the Jeremy Pruitts, the Steve Sarkisians, the Lane Kiffins, right. Bill O'Brien's, these guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They don't have those guys in the program.
Nope.
They had Pete Golding, who, a lot of Bama fans weren't really very hot on Pete Golding for a long time. So you go out and you get another defensive coordinator who you've had for, who's been there and been around the program, who's coming out of Miami. And then you also go out and get an offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees, right?
Yep.
So my whole thing with this is, it's not like, in my opinion, they didn't get the guys they wanted, which, by the way, was Cliff Kingsbury and Jeremy Pruitt. It was kind of the names that they were throwing out there, right?
Right.
To me, like I said, you get Kevin Steele and then you get Tommy Rees. I just feel like that's kind of a loss there. You look at their schedule, you look at how many people, and we've kind of covered that in past episodes, so go check all that out. This feels like there's a lot of hype, but that's all it is to me. It just feels like it's a lot of hype. I mean, the especially in the West, there's a ton of talent, man. And this could be that year where things start to fall apart. Saban has a 4-loss season, and he just kind of has to take a hard look in the mirror and just realize, hey, especially like you said, I mean, if you're, I'm high on Georgia, not as high as you are, and I'm a Georgia fan. I'm a realist, but let's say Georgia sleepwalks their way through the schedule, undefeated, and they win another one. They three-peat. Do you not take a look in the mirror and say, hey, I can't beat Kirby?
I guess it's the way I look at it, and I might be wrong. Nick Saban is. I don't want to throw this word out here, but I'm going to throw it out there. He's a god, right? I mean, that's kind of the way people portray him. You know what I mean? In the national spotlight, right? He ain't leaving college football. I believe he's 71 years old. He's getting up there. Still very with it. Still can coach, obviously. And I think he's relied a lot on those, offensive coordinators, D coordinator. I mean, he's had a lot of big names come through there, right? And you just touched on some of the hires that they have, and I'm not that high on those guys either. Even if Bama does have a down year this year, he's not gone yet. He's going to go out in style. Just from what I see the guy and hear him talk for a lot. I mean, he's been around the fucking football forever now, even since I was a kid. I don't see him going out that way, Christian. I don't. Even if Georgia, which I think would kill him more than anything, even if he lost 4 games, I think he'd still be happy if Georgia doesn't win a national title. You know what I mean? I think that's his thing. Because guess who that coach is over there at Georgia? That's one of his boys, and we know that, right?
Yeah.
And I know Saban, he's a competitive fucking dude, man. He is. I just don't see him quitting, even if he loses 4 or 5 games. This team this year, in my opinion, and this is what I was going to touch on real quick here, the reason why I'm high on them, and I'm banking on assuming, which is a dumb thing to do, is that their defense plays 100 times better than they have the last couple years. They're going to have to win games by stopping people now. Not because of Bryce fucking Young. You don't have Tua back there, and you sure shit don't have Jalen Hurts. He's relied a lot on the quarterback play the last how many years? Defense has started to tail off. Early in the what was it, 2009 or whatever, they went 14-0. He's had a couple undefeated seasons there. A lot of that was because of his defense too. You know what I mean? Their defense was known to be ball hawks, guys that fucking make tackles in the open field. You did not see that last year. You did not see that much the year before their defense. I always kind of thought, man, you guys are kind of tailing off. Your offense is going up, but your defense is tailing off. Now you're at a point where, okay, I don't have Mac Jones or these guys back there. This year with a new quarterback, essentially, a lot of new weapons. We don't know really what they have on offense, in my opinion. Bryce Young got the shit beat out of him last year because their offensive line was, I'm going to use the word soft. Usually Bama throws out a lot of offensive linemen. I'm banking a lot on their fucking defense this year. That's where I'm at. And if I'm wrong, I will 100% fucking admit it. So we're going to kind of find out here. This is going to be an interesting year for Saban. You're exactly right, though.
Yeah, and just to finish up on this here, we do have an ongoing bet about Bama and how they finish this year. By the way, we did bet if Bama does not finish inside the top 4 this year. So Chris took Bama to do that. I obviously took that they'd finish outside the top 4 this year. Then whoever loses that bet has to buy the other person a bottle of their choice. I do prefer Blanton's Single Barrel Bourbon. Thank you so much in advance.
whatever. I'm sure you're into those. You'll probably text me on the side like some of those frou-frou drinks that your wife drinks. But whatever. If you got to stay out tough in front of the audience, Christian, I get it. I got you, brother. I got you. But no, I'm not. I'm making a pretty bold statement there. I do know that. So finishing top 4 is pretty tough to fucking do.
That is pretty tough. But if there's somebody up for the challenge, it would be one Nicholas Lou Saban Jr.
Yeah.
I think that's what Wikipedia said his name was. Hopefully I got that right. So this is a good transition point where we want to start doing this at least once, hopefully twice a week here. You degenerates in our comment section. We want to start introducing something called our toxic comment of the week.
I love it.
So
smoke.
Our first one that we've got here, we're going to flash it right up here on the screen for you. I'm going to read it. And then let's just go here. This one comes from one Michael Hassan. He says to blame. This was in reference, by the way, to the Florida Gator video that we put out talking about Billy Napier. And I think in that, if you go back and you watch it, we were talking about how Anthony Richardson, really he struggled this year, but he struggled because of kind of the pieces around him, and it's like, how many times can you put the ball right on him and expect for receivers to do this and that if they can't catch it? And it was just ridiculous, right? So Michael Hassan said to us, to blame the coach for just terrible play at the QB position is stupid talk. Thank God that kid has moved on. Not the most toxic thing out there, but basically what he's saying is it was all Anthony Richardson's fault. Billy Napier had nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with how that team performs on Saturdays. I guess, Chris, in your line of work, you're a manager at your job. Is that correct?
I am.
Okay. So if you've got a whole lot of guys underneath you that are fucking off and they're not doing their job, I guess that's not your fault. That's their fault for not doing their job and not being productive, right? You're not going to get in trouble. Your job's not at risk. It's them, right?
Well, yeah, no. The answer is fuck no. They're going to come after me because that's my job, right? I'm getting paid to be a manager, quote unquote, manage people. I'm the guy they come after, right? That's why I got hired to do the job. It is no different than a head coach, right? I'm not saying that Anthony Richardson, he didn't look great last year. Let's all, to remind this guy, who the fuck was he throwing to? If you could show me some film, because his receivers sure the fuck weren't open. His offensive line wasn't worth a shit. It's not like he was standing back there, behind Ohio State's offensive line. And 2, I'm not trying to get too hyped up about that, but man, to say, thank God that kid's gone. This kid is, I believe he might be the number 1 pick in the draft this year. This kid can throw the football and he can play. But yeah, that's why Napier's getting paid to be a head coach. That's why these guys are making 8 to 11, 12 mil a year being a head coach like Saban, right? You're getting paid for a reason. And you're
getting paid,
young men,
They're getting paid. I thought this was like a charity thing, like where they volunteer their time and you can't be critical of them because they're just volunteering, right?
Oh.
So there's not like they make millions of dollars a year and they're expected to win. And this is the 90s where you can have the whole decade to fuck off and have 5-6 wins a year and lose to Vanderbilt. I'm sorry. I must have got that wrong. No,
yeah,
please.
Yeah, I guess we're just two dumb fucks sitting here. But I mean, I will say though, with Richardson, dude, you really got to look at the tape on that kid, man. And I know quite a bit about the NFL. That's kind of my forte. But like, the kid didn't have anybody getting open to throw the ball to. He really, truly didn't. I know everybody's going to bring up the completion percentage and all that bullshit. Look how many fucking drop balls there were. Just study that a little bit. Look how much time he had to actually throw the ball. A little different when you're playing behind, Ohio State's offensive line, right? Ohio State had a really good offensive line last year. Stroud didn't get hit much at all. A little bit different. His receivers are fucking crazy good, right? Harrison, you had Jackson Smith and Najigma, those guys getting open. He probably had the most open receivers. That means they're doing their job. And overall, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not trying to harp on Napier. I don't think either of us were. It was more, you're the head of the show, man. You're the guy getting paid the fucking money. You got to find a way to win, right? You got to find a way to help your quarterback out a little bit, and that's where I'm at with that. And I do love this toxic comment of the week, by the way. That was, I like your analogy there. That was pretty good, Christian.
Yeah, normally we always say it's all love here. It's all hate, son. It really is. It's not love. It's we can always Monday morning quarterback this. Look, I'm just playing with you. It is nothing but love here. We don't actually hate anybody. It's
No.
it's a fun thing though to kind of to mix it up and be able to kind of talk a little smack. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we enjoy doing this, and we're looking forward to providing more content with you. Guys, if you've gotten this far, be sure to comment down below who you think had the better topic or who had the better segment here, whose list you liked better. Did we miss somebody in that top 5? Is there somebody that you guys are excited about this year? And let us know. Give us your thoughts, guys. All feedback is welcome, right? So with that, Chris, I'll turn it over to you, bud.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. Like I said, man, we're not any of these people are going to fight anybody over this stuff, dude. This is all hypothetical. We love talking college football. We love talking about the top teams and having the hot takes. And don't take that as gospel. You know what I mean? We're just 2 guys having some fun here talking college football. We'd like to call each other bros, man. I mean, this is what this is about. And like Christian said, man, comment in the channel, say something, man. If I'm wrong about my take on my running back tonight or my takes, let me know, man. Like I said, it's all good. I want to hear everybody's side of the story. Again, I keep saying this. If we all had the same fucking view on everything, it'd be a pretty boring world, right? I mean, you would agree with me, would you not, Christian?
Oh, yeah. 100% it would be.
So that's all I got, man. Christian, you want to wrap this one up for us tonight, buddy?
Yeah, guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I-80 Boys coming back at you live every Wednesday and Sunday. Sorry, not live yet, but we will be going live soon. We got something in the wraps for you guys, right? So, yeah.
Combine coming up soon, too, by the way. Coming up between me and Christian.
Damn right. Comment down below who you think is going to win. All right, guys. We will see you guys later.